What a pleasure it is now to welcome on one of the best up-and-coming talents in the UFC's welterweight division, Sean Brady, all the way over there in Philadelphia. First of all, Sean, how are you, my friend? How's everything in Philly?
Everything's good over here. It's hot, man. It's a scorching August over here, but it's all good, man. I'm recovering from my injury. I'm in the house right now, so it's all good.
Listen, we've had a good bit of nice weather this week, but we've had a mixed bag, so I'm not complaining with a little bit
Yeah,
of heat.
it's going to be cold. It's going to be cold soon here, and I hate the cold, so I'm still enjoying the hot weather. That's for sure.
Yeah, man, swap places anytime. Listen to me, Sean, you mentioned the injury. Talk me through it. How did it happen? Obviously, your foot infection as real as you had a debate with Kevin Lee. So, how did it come about, and how's everything with it?
So it was a Friday. We were about 4 weeks out. We have morning training and we have night training. So my morning session, I was working with my new wrestling coach, who's actually Damian Maya's old wrestling coach, Cody Hamra. And we were wrestling, and he went for a shot. I sprawled, and my foot hit something, and I got a small, tiny little cut on my foot, like literally the smallest cut. So throughout the day, I'm like, oh, like this is kind of annoying. I thought maybe I like sprained my ankle, like when I sprawled, because when I sprawled out, my foot hit like our wall, our wall mats. Our wall mats come down, and they don't go all the way to the floor mats. There's like a little, like a few inches where your foot can slide under and hit the concrete wall. So that's what my ankle did. And I was like, maybe I just sprained my ankle, and that's where the cut came from.
Yeah.
So fast forward Friday night, I go back to practice. We're grappling. I just wear a wrestling shoe. I tie it up really tight, and I get through practice no problem. Saturday is sparring, so I ace bandaged it. Like it was just sore, and I was like, man, like this is weird. I was kicking with it. I did 7 or 8 rounds of sparring. I was fine. I came home. I was icing it, and I'm an idiot. Like I was icing it in a bucket that I just like sprayed out, like and just threw ice in there, and then yeah, it was bad. So I'm icing it, and I usually run on Saturdays, and for some reason I was like, you know what, like my foot's hurting pretty bad. Like let me just take it easy. So I didn't do anything the rest of Saturday. Sunday, still not getting better. Monday comes around, it's still like it's getting pretty bad now. So I didn't go to practice, but I still went to the gym. I worked out, and I did like a cycling workout. And then Tuesday came around, and I'm an idiot again. I'm still going, like trying to work out, like maybe like thinking it's going to get better. And my mom and my fiance are both nurses, so they were both at work. I sent them a video, and they're like,
What's
"You
going
need to
on?
come to the hospital." Well, actually, I'm sorry. So Sunday night, I was in excruciating pain. I
Wow.
went upstairs and I told my fiance, I'm like, I'm going to the hospital. Like, I'm in 10 out of 10 pain. So I went to like a Ready Care. It's like a quick in and out thing. They told me I had cellulitis, and they gave me oral antibiotics. So I was like, all right, 2 days, I'll be good. Back to Tuesday, I sent them the video of my leg, and they're like, listen, like, come to the hospital right now. Like, it's not good. So I go to the hospital thinking at this point, like, all right, they're going to admit me, which they did, and I'll be out in like 1 or 2 days. They'll give me IV antibiotics, and I'll be good to go. So I'm in there on Tuesday. Thursday comes around. They're like,
Shit.
listen, like, we want to get an MRI to make sure. We think it went into your tendon, and we think it went into your ankle joint. So we did the MRI, and worst. This was like at this point worst case scenario. They say like it's in my ankle joint, it's in my tendon, and they had to do surgery the next day. So I went from thinking like, all right, I'm going to go in the hospital. I'll be out by Wednesday or Thursday. I'll still be able to fight. My meal prep company was bringing up my meals. I had my food scale. My girlfriend was cooking
Wow.
my breakfast in the morning. Like so, I'm weighing all my like because at that point, like 4 weeks out, like you still have to be getting your weight down. So I'm making sure once I get out of the hospital, I was gonna be good, even though I wasn't allowed. I obviously can't work out in there, but I literally couldn't walk. But in my mind, I'm like, all right, Thursday's gonna come. I'm gonna get out. They're gonna give me antibiotics. I'll be good to go. And then that's when they told me that we had to do surgery. And then
Shit.
obviously, so they went in and they cleaned out my tendon. They cleaned out my ankle joint. And at this point, they were still kind of like they did another bone culture and make sure it wasn't in my bone in my shin.
Like
because
this
it was.
this sounds like it's really serious. Like it actually could have been a career-threatening injury.
I thought I was going to lose my foot. Like,
What?
I'm not gonna lie. Like, there was nights like I was scared. At one, I'd never stayed in the hospital ever overnight. I was there for almost a week by the time I got out. It was the worst experience of my life. Honestly, I was scared. Like I thought I was going to lose my foot. So at one point, I was like, "Fuck this fight, fuck."
Yeah,
When
yeah,
I
yeah.
knew I was out of it, because I was so upset that I wasn't going to be able to fight. But then I was looking down at my foot. I'm like, I might lose my fucking foot. Like I might
Wow.
never be able to walk again. And I would stand up, and the pain that would rush to my foot was worst thing I've ever felt in my life. I couldn't walk because all the like my foot was so big and swollen. The pressure had nowhere to go, I guess. So it was just like my foot was throbbing.
Holy
It
shit.
was the worst pain I've ever had. I've broken bones. I've had a lot of injuries to my body, and I've never felt anything like that in my life.
Yeah, the pictures were crazy of it. Like, did the doctors actually say that to you that you might actually lose your foot because of the
So
infection?
it didn't get. I mean, that's where it could end up. Like if I would have went on the way I was, like not going to the hospital and getting it treated, I could have lost my foot. Like it could have,
Wow.
if it would have gotten to my bone, and then I guess it would have. It's called becoming septic. I guess it's when the infection's in your blood. Like, I mean, it could have killed me. Like if it got
Holy
that
shit.
bad.
Yeah.
So now, then after that, I'm thinking like, all right, they did the surgery. It's going to take a couple weeks for my ankle to recover because they did like a pretty gnarly incision, and from all the trauma from the surgery, from the infection and everything, like it was taking a while for my swelling to go down. So I'm getting ready to get out of the hospital, and now we're waiting to hear if they're going to give me IV antibiotics in this. I have this line in my arm, so where I have to get antibiotics 3 times a day for 4 weeks. So with this thing in my arm, you can't get it wet, so I can't sweat. I can't like it fucking it sucks like, and especially for someone like me, from morning till night, like all I do is train. So since I got out of the hospital, we're 11 days. I got 11 more days, and then I'm done. But it was 4 weeks time from when I got out of the hospital that I had to have this in my arm. So I'm like trying to do everything I can, like cycle, like in my basement. Like they told me they cleared me for like lower body stuff, but once I start to sweat, I have to stop because I can't get it wet. So like I was just walking my dog outside and I started to sweat. So it's tough, man. It's especially for a guy like me where I
Yeah,
love
you live in
fighting,
the
but
gym.
I
You
love training.
you
Just
live in the
training's my
gym.
life. Like it's my favorite thing. Even like my other activities that I do are like mountain biking and cycling. Like everything I do is active. So for me it's rough, but you know what? Like I said to you earlier, something good's gonna come out of
Yeah.
it. Hopefully I can get like a top 10 name and fight people I deserve to fight, because honestly, only reason I took the Kevin Lee fight was because nobody else was fighting me. No, we asked for every single person in the top 15. They had nobody for
I
me.
was gonna.
So
Has that been a major problem for you? Because Kevin there. Obviously he got injured when the first fight was supposed to take place in July. He pulled out with a rib injury. Then obviously you got that unfortunate injury you've just explained there
yeah,
to us. And then the Bilal fight was cancelled. There's been sort of all ups and downs for the last sort of
yeah,
year. I know you the Jake Matthews fight in
yeah.
between, but has that been a major issue trying to get guys to get in there with you? Because obviously you've been incredibly impressive since you've debuted in the UFC.
Yeah, it's tough, especially after the Jake fight, because I think I was trying to fight in like June, and same thing, guys like weren't just known in the top 15 wanted to fight me. I was literally asking for anybody, as long as they had a number next to their name, I want to fight them, because I'm not going to take a step back and fight a guy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened with Kevin. Kevin has a big name, so when they brought that to us, I'm like, he might not be ranked at 170, but at least he has a big name. Because if not, I wasn't getting shit. I wasn't getting nothing. I asked for everybody, and nothing came out of it. So hopefully I'll get what I deserve, which I don't like even throwing that word around a lot, but I think I deserve at least somebody in the top 15. I'm ranked number
I agree.
13. I'm 14-0. I think I deserve that. I think I deserve to fight someone in the top 10. How can you get higher in the rankings if no one will give you that chance? If I was ranked number 9 and a guy that was number 15, if that's the only fight I could get, I would take that fight. That's the only way that the division can keep moving. So there's some guys I'm looking at. I'm thinking I'm going to be able to fight. Like, I think they just announced a December 4th card. Like that would be ideally perfect for my recovery. So we'll see what happens.
Were you pissed off Kevin didn't wait? Because you obviously sort of waited around
Absolutely
for him
not.
when he got injured.
Nope. He pulled out. I got hurt. I don't want, unless I see Kevin, like, unless he goes on a crazy tear at 170, I don't want to see my name on the same piece of paper as his for a long time. I'm over it. I trained for him for 3 or 4 months. Like, it was fucking 2 weeks out when he got hurt, and then I did an entire another training camp, and then 4 weeks out, I got hurt, so unless he goes on a crazy tear, I don't want to be matched up with him right now, for sure.
You don't think he's going to go on a tear, though, from what we sort of said off air there?
He might have he might beat Daniel Rodriguez. That's a tough fight. But then he's saying, like, he's number 5. He thinks he can beat all the top 5 guys. I'm like, you don't even have – you lost to RDA, who moved just back down to 155. So let's see what you got with this weekend and then go from there. But we're just going to have to see.
I have to ask you, he made some comments during the week in an interview. He said, I would have made Sean Brady's name. How do you react to those comments? What do you think of that from Kevin?
He's just saying that because he has a bigger name than me, which he does. He's been in the UFC longer. He's had main events. More fans probably know who he is, but I'm a better fighter than all these guys. So to me, only thing that matters are my fighting skills. And I can beat all these guys, and I'm going to beat all these guys. If I would have fought Kevin, I would have beat Kevin. But I'll beat someone else in December, and then if he wins and he keeps winning, I'll beat him when we get matched up. I'm going to just keep winning, and then eventually everyone's going to have to know my name. It is. I don't do a lot of talking. I don't do a lot of, like, this is probably the most shit talking I've ever done because I like to be respectful. But you know what? It's sometimes nice guys finish last, so I'm tired of that. I'm just trying to get big fights, and I'm trying to move up the rankings.
Your first, your first, what are you, 4 fights into your UFC career?
Yeah.
And every fight, I've looked at, there's been a little bit more we've seen from Sean Brady. Everything's been relatively dominant, in my opinion. The level of opponents the UFC have given you too, does that sort of give you confidence that the UFC know how good you are and they seriously believe that you're going to be competing for that title in the next 12 to 18 months? In my opinion, anyway, I believe you're going to be right up there very, very soon. Does that give you good confidence, the level of opponents the UFC are giving you? Yeah,
for sure. And like I was saying earlier, like, guys, the UFC can't make you say yes, so they're going to, like, I'm sure they've offered big names my name, and then I'm sure guys were just like, oh, he doesn't have a big enough name or this or that, So I think the UFC, they treat me super well. I love the UFC. They've done nothing but good by me. So I know they know what they have in me, and someone's going to have to take the fight, So someone may be coming off a loss in the top 10 or something like that. So someone's going to have to get in there with me and let me prove that I'm one of the best in the world in this division.
Dude, what do you think of the landscape of the division? It's an odd division in many ways, sort of in the top 10.
Yeah.
There's guys that, they like to talk, and I think they actually do more talking sometimes than fighting at the top of the welterweight division. We've seen what's happened with Leon Edwards. He's been knocking on the door for God knows how long, trying to get a title fight, and it looks as though maybe he's going to sit out now and wait till after Usman and Covington too.
Yeah.
How do you look at the landscape? It seems to be a weird place and a messy place.
Yeah, it's weird. Just like they just got rid of Damian Maia out of the rankings, and then they ranked Robbie Lawler, who's on a 4-fight losing streak. Nothing against. It's just it's strange, I don't know who does the rankings, and like you said, in the top 5, all those guys are just waiting for a title shot. They just want to win one fight, and then they're like, all right, I'll wait a year or 2 years to get a title shot. When they could just be fighting each other and then make it easier for who's the clear-cut guy, because Leon probably does deserve it. But you know who else is getting up there and deserving it? Vicente Luque.
Yeah,
he might
100%.
deserve it more than Leon. So, who decides? So I think there'll be a lot more fun and a lot less talking and stuff we can figure it out. But you can't force somebody to say yes. So I'm hoping out there in December wants to fight and get a big name.
Yeah, 100%. How do you see that welterweight title fight going then, Colby and Kamaru Part 2? It's going to be a good one, in my opinion.
Yeah, so the first one was an amazing fight, but I
Unreal.
just think Usman's gotten better, and I think he's going to win. I just don't think Colby's been active enough, and I know he probably trained super hard, but I just think Usman's been doing a lot more, and his self belief that guy has, like just the way he believes in himself, and like he had that first tough round against Gilbert, coming back and then knocking Gilbert out, like, and that's your teammate, you know. So I'm sure
Mm.
that had to be hard to do. So I think Usman. I think Usman's going to be around for a little while at the top of the division.
Will he be there when you get up there?
Hey, if he is, it'll be a good one, man. He's a respectful guy. I got respect for all these guys. It's so hard to do what we do.
Of course.
I don't like talking trash, you know, and I don't want to talk my way into a fight. I want to let my record do it. I want to let my fighting do it. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not a big shit talker. I like fighting respectful guys, but if guys start talking shit to me, I'll talk shit back. So it is what it
There's a
is.
new side of Sean Brady coming out now. I feel if if
Yeah.
people keep talking shit, Sean as well, right? I think a lot of people sleep on how good your stand up is as well. You know, I think you've really good hands. Obviously, you know your wrestling is excellent. We've seen how dominant
Yeah.
that is. Are people sleeping on how good your hands are?
Yeah, it's actually just my kickboxing in general. Like I've kickboxed with some of the best guys in the world, and I hold my own and do even better. Like I just, if I can take you down and make it an easier night for myself, that's what I'm going to do. You know. But if for some reason I can't take a guy down, I'm more than comfortable striking on the feet with anybody in the world. So I got it everywhere. I got the goods on the ground. I got the goods on the feet, and it's just going to, like you said earlier, each fight it's just going to come out more and more. And my next fight, you'll see more, and the next fight you'll see more. I'm 28. I got a long way.
Wow.
I got a lot of miles left on me, so I'm going to be here for a long time.
Sean, what is next? Because you know, I saw a recent interview with you. You mentioned you might like to mix with these guys in the future. As you mentioned, Damian Maya, Michael Chiesa, you sort of named. Is there a name that's coming to mind for you that you'd sort of like to get in there with and prove someone? Obviously, a top 15 guy, as you said, and that would sort of seem Michael Chiesa might be one of those guys.
I think Chiesa makes sense. You know, Chiesa's such a nice guy, such
Yeah,
a good
lovely guy.
fighter. I would love to get in there and test myself against him. You know, he's coming off a loss now, so it makes more sense than ever. You know, I'm 14-0. I never lost a fight. He's number I think 7 in the division. They had me at like 13, and he's coming off a loss. So I mean, if he wants to get back in there, show them like, hey, I can beat up
Yeah.
this young stud. Let me show what I got, you know. So that'd be awesome if we could get that done, you know.
Jeez, that's a great book, and I love that fight. I really like that fight in paper. I think it's a bloody barn burner. Right, I want to ask you about the Philly scene as well. I listened to the same interview actually. I can't think of the guy who did it. You were sitting in someone's in his studio or a house there recently. I
Oh
listened
yeah,
to
yeah,
the
yeah,
whole
yep,
thing.
yep, yep.
One of your guys from Philly, but you
Yeah.
also mentioned on that about the Philly scene, and you said Eddie Alvarez. This was interesting to me. You think Eddie's been very underappreciated in Philadelphia for what he's done as achievements. But I sort of feel that with Philly, like Philly doesn't really get the credit, even on the
Yeah,
in the world on the MMA scene for what sort of fighters they have. The UFC, I think, have only done one show there. It's pretty wild. What were those comments in relation to?
so when Eddie won he won the title in 2000, I think it was 16, I
16,
believe,
15 or
against
16, yeah.
RDA. He was such a big underdog. So he wins the title, and then he's getting ready to fight Connor. And I just remember guys from our city that went to the same high school as Eddie,
No
like
way.
like
What?
talking shit, like Connor's going to do this, Connor's going to do that, and I'm arguing. Like I literally was at like a family party arguing with guys, and I'm just like, even after Eddie lost that fight, I went on like kind of like a whole rant on Facebook about like all these people that because you would see all these statuses of guys. I'm like, you're talking shit about a legend from your
What?
city who has accomplished so much in his life, and you're probably just sitting in your mom's basement, keyboard worrying it away. So like. It just and even like when Eddie won the belt, like he came home, there was no parade or anything. Like all these other guys go back to their towns and they had these huge
Yeah.
things for them, and Eddie didn't have shit, you know. But I think we're getting better at like celebrating our athletes, like especially now between like me and Pat Sabatini, Jeremiah Wells. That's 3 guys just from our team. Now Andre Petrosky from our teams in the UFC. You have the Dawkins brothers from another
Yeah,
gym, but there's
quality.
still Paul Felder for
Paul, yeah.
as long as he was in the UFC. So we're getting a lot of good guys, and I just want it to be better for the. I hope I get something nice when I win the belt and I bring it home, because they didn't do right by Eddie, and I love Eddie Alvarez to death. He's like an idol to
Eddie's a
me. I
good dude.
was watching him fight the other day, and I just sent him a screenshot of me just watching him on the TV because I love Eddie and I love studying him, and he's just such a dog. And over the pandemic, like we got super close training together, and yeah, it just pisses me off the way that he doesn't get the respect he deserves, and it's all by a bunch of losers.
Big, big. I totally agree with you, man. Eddie's a great guy. I know Eddie for years as well. But what a gentleman, and I know Paul well as well. Know all the Philly guys, but you're all good geezers. But Eddie also said that must give you so much confidence when you have a former UFC champion saying no doubt in his mind that you're going to be a UFC champion. Like, that must be pretty cool as well to hear from Eddie when he's going around saying that to everyone. And to be honest with you, Paul Felder, a number of years ago, before you were even in the UFC, said exactly the same thing to me. He goes, you watch out for this kid, Sean Brady. He's going to be a world champion someday.
Yeah, me and Paul, I've been training with Paul since I was an amateur. He won his CFFC belt the night I fought my last amateur fight. And then he defended that belt when I made my pro debut, and then he got signed to the UFC. So just seeing everything Paul's done and kind of between Alvarez and then Paul, like they kind of paved the way for us. And even my teammate Jonathan Webb, he got to the UFC and kind of just showed us the way, So I've had so many good guys around me, and I've been so fortunate to just learn from these guys. And Paul's doing all of his triathlete shit, but once I'm healed up, I've been talking to him. He wants to start training again, so we'll have him back in the gym. And I know Eddie's getting ready to come back soon, so it's all the timing's gonna lead up perfect for this next fight I have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hopefully Paul doesn't get you doing triathlon. He's everyone else doing fucking triathlon.
Dude, I was the original of our team. I always ran. Like since I was younger, I've loved running, and I would always tell these guys to run. And now everyone's running, but I can't swim for shit. So I'll have to do a race where there's no swimming. But like I love cycling and I love mountain biking. So that might be something I might have to pick up when I'm done fighting. But it takes so much time. Like I run a lot, but cycling, you have to be out for at least 2 hours, So when I do get to do it, I can only do it a few times a week. But it's definitely one of my favorite things to do.
Definitely. Any new tattoos, Shawnee?
I actually just got a tattoo today.
Go on. Show. Can you show it to us?
You can't really. It's a little. Me and my fiance, we got matching bees behind our ear for our dog. His name's Bane. So we got these little bees behind it. But I can't. They told me they didn't say I couldn't get tattooed, but they said with the line in my arm that I probably shouldn't be getting tattooed just because of the risk of infection. So I was like, you know what? I'll get just a little guy and I'll stop it there. So hopefully, once I get this thing out of my arm, I'll have some time to get tattooed before I start training. But if I'm just so ready to get back in the gym and just start getting ready for someone because I'm just itching to get back in there and just compete.
Yeah. What? So you were saying possibly December? Is that what you're eyeing on? That sort of time frame to get back in there?
That's what I want. My manager was talking to the UFC, just let them know, like, hey, we'll reach back out once Sean is cleared, once I get the line out of my arm, once the incision on my foot's completely solid. So another 2 or 3 weeks, I should be able to get back in the gym, get back into it, and by October, I think I'll be able to start a training camp and get ready. So December 3rd or 4th is what I would love. And I think December 11th, it's even a pay-per-view. So
cool.
super early in December. I don't want to wait any longer than I have to. So that's what I'm hoping for.
It's been a mad number of months for you, as you said. You contracted COVID as well. You were out for a bit. I saw in a recent interview. You obviously had that. The fight fallout. Mentally, how have you been? It's been tough one, has it?
Yeah, it is. But you know what? I've been working with a sports psychologist from the UFC PI. His name's Micah. Really good guy. I just started working with him. And outside of that, I have such a good support system between my fiance, Kristen, and my parents, like my friends, my teammates. So I'm rock solid, bro. Like I've had some
Good
shitty
stuff.
shit happen to me, but it is what it is. I had COVID before I fought Jake, and I literally didn't get sick. I just couldn't go train because I
Yeah,
had
yeah.
COVID, you know. So I beat COVID's ass. I'm gonna beat my opponent. Whoever I fight next, they're getting it, and then the guy after that, you know, I'm tired of getting pushed to the back. It's time for me to make my way to the front.
It's going to be a big 18 months for you. I definitely feel it. And listen, mate, I do appreciate you taking the time out to come on and chat with me today. It's always a pleasure to speak to you, Sean. Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
If you
Bro.
want to see more videos like this, do hit the subscribe button and also the notification button so you don't miss any future updates. You can also catch us on social media and also give the video a thumbs up. It does help. Thanks, guys.